Madness. I said, yo, man, I got me up. I want to let be live where I swear. Now he said, I've been rapping my own man. I get it. My kid was doing, I'm breaking the problem. On my way, people calling me names. All the trouble I see, I ain't do at the peace. When the suffering, the sources, I can't pay the code. Only how I get paid. Sooner or later, my hustle pay. Never pay, and I'm rushing myself. Keep it cool, everything have a season. Too much rushing, I probably chasing. One day. Only one day. I'll get it cool. One day.
I'm also gonna pay one day. Any mess can go see my face. Me pa know I'm not watching it. One day, success gonna come my way. I know my hustle gonna pay one day. Any mess can gonna see my face. Me pa know I'm not watching it. One day, success gonna come my way. Yeah. My mama was so angry, my papa was so angry, my friend was your money, any method will come on and knees. So I'm on my way, this is why I'm looking for money. Looking for money. I want my mama happy. Want my papa happy. Want make all my brothers and sisters to come around me.
Yeah, Capilico, why you know you hustle? Why saying the boat by the Genesis? Shall come at the pie, why I feel be working on Wednesday. In my love for the mile, all in the dark, all in the week, all in the sun.
My mama was so angry, my papa was so angry, my friend was your money, any mess that will come on and miss. So I'm on my
Armando, you are famous.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Attorney Commander Glapohkpa Chesson talk show. I'm sorry for this little brief intermission we had. Apparently, I pressed the wrong button and I lost connection here. So it's good to be back. This morning, I have a very special guest. I'm sorry my guest will not be able to come on, but we have a telephone conversation. We've been on since 5 o'clock this morning trying to get him to come on the show, and we had some very difficult times. I couldn't get him on the internet. I couldn't get him on his phone. I couldn't get him on the computer. So he's on the line, and we're going to do a telephone interview. Gary?
Yes, good morning.
How are you, Gary? How are you? Please, this is Mr. Gary Dantzler. Gary is the community coordinator for Rhode Island Black Lives Matter organization. Is that correct?
Yes, that is, sir. It's an honor to be here on your show. And, I want to make some things happen in New England. And for the black people, black and brown people, especially my African brothers and sisters. My name is Brother Gary Dantzler. I'm the founder and executive director of Black Lives Matter, Rhode Island.
Yeah, go ahead, Gary. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself since you started already.
Yes. So I'm the founder of Black Lives Matter, Rhode Island. Initially, I'm born and raised in New York City. Learning about the civil rights and apartheid of what happened in South Africa, I was always intrigued about learning about information, about education for black and brown people in America. Transpired to Rhode Island, I was an activist to uphold and do things right in our communities of color. And I don't like to use the word, use the words that are so profound, meaning a revolutionist, a strategist. To use words to identify the problem of people of color that are doing active things in the communities.
Activist and advocate.
Right. So we've been doing the work diligently, undercover for a very long time, ever since Dina Raimondo was in office. And kind of started, took upon everybody's proactive and learning the codes of American policy. But one of them is that we learned that very youngly, growing up in New York, about, from United Nations to, the NAACP, the ACLU, just learning these confirmations about education, how we feel about American policy and what happens with, the policing, the military, anything that polarizes America, especially when it's identified with black and brown people.
Gary, you've been involved with and a leader of the Black Lives Matter movement in Rhode Island for a while now.
Yes.
What is the mission and purpose of the Black Lives Movement organization in Rhode Island?
Well, one of them is that to aware the African people. And, what I mean by the African people is the black and brown people, to bring awareness to their communities and get them involved with maybe it's voting, education, equity. These things concern black and brown people in my community. So I have to, be accountable for getting people jobs, getting people into school. That black and brown people, we need to really understand what's going on politically in our communities and learn that when it's time to vote, we got to get out there and vote for the people that we know that's right for the candidate and get them in office, the people that we choose.
So is that part of the initiative of the Black Lives Matter organization?
Yes, it is. And, there's so one is like how we get out to vote, right? And the other one is learning American politics and learning a political stance and what's right and what's wrong. And as you see, black and brown people has been affected, even the Americans and the natives. So we have to come together to make better changes in our community. Because if not, it's going to be the same thing over and over again. So, I take a huge stand in education. I take a huge stand in equity. Because if you don't have these things, you're revolving. You're going to be a revolving door.
So I noticed you led a number of protests against injustices, or what you term as injustices. Tell us about some of those protests you led.
Yeah, so we led one of the biggest demonstrations, and the first protest was, at a park downtown Providence, and that was the first one.
And what was that for?
That was before the George Floyd. It was talking about the injustice of police brutality, And, we met at the park. That was the first rally we had. I think it was like almost 10,000 people. And then the second one was huge. It wasn't led by me. It was led by another organization. It was a collaborative group.
Yeah, you've done a lot of collaboration with other organizations that stage protests. I remember you were with the Black Pact movement too, with Joseph Buchanan.
Yes, Joe Buchanan. What a great guy. His organization, and Joe's a huge advocate. Strongly is one of the guys one of my mentors, and he taught me a lot of things about just learning about blacks and whites and learning the political arena, and just learning about about this game. And Joe was one of the pioneers and the trailblazers that really started a lot of stuff, against police brutality and housing and homelessness. Joe Buchanan has been doing this for many years, and there's people like him that inspire me to do what I do.
Yeah, you guys been active in the community for a while. What's your relationship with the NAACP?
Well, we're trying to have a relationship. I'll be frank with you. I think sometimes that people feel like, I don't want to say threatened, but I think they feel very territorial, and they get amongst the elite and try to rub elbows and really count the other small guys out. So, but I think that we stay positive, and focus on really black issues. And I don't know, Jim Vincent, what those guys are doing over there, but I wish them luck. I think they're doing a good job, but I think it needs to be more inclusive. And what I mean by inclusive is work with everybody, not to say they don't work with everybody, but really do that and aspire something good and make a change in the community, and not hear these bad voices and all this distance, very distances of each other. The very, this group is distant, this one's distant, this organizations don't work like this one. So it's a lot of that. It's a lot of that in Rhode Island. And
so what you're saying, there's a lot of bickering?
Oh, it's a lot of bickering with a lot of organizations. And what Black Lives Matter Rhode Island, what we did was we stayed out the way, and we try to stay positive. And even to people that we don't even associate ourselves, we don't talk ill. We don't perform any type of just anything negative. We don't do that.
But Gary, why do you think this kind of situation exists in our community? Because even right now, further on in our interview, we're going to talk about African and African American relationships. Now, here we are right here talking about relationships amongst African Americans. All these various groups that come to fight for us can't agree. Why is that?
I think a lot has to do with territory. I said earlier, like, Rhode Island is a very territorial place, and like any other places, it's one of the 13 colonies of that been oppressed, from slavery, and it was pretty bad. It was handed down after generation, and like I watched, even me coming to the state, I was really very, and I don't mean this in a bad way. I mean, like, I was highly educated about my African American history and African studies. So a lot of these people here are grounded. They're not rooted here. You understand? So they're very territorial because of education, maybe because of economic and empowerment, maybe because
scarce resources.
Yes, a lot. I was going to say that a lot have to do with the resources. A lot has to do with organizations being demanded, knowing about their rights, knowing about history. History plays a huge role around, and a lot of the black and brown people here did not do what I was doing. I had to go out there and educate them about being and having awareness, and then they came after me, and they never made it. They never included me with that. I never got mad. I always understood. You got the Lisa Rangleys, you got all these other organizations, and I watched them bicker. We all bickered, right? Including me. But I learned not to do that publicly. They have done that. These people have displayed that broadly on every level.
So,
fighting with each other. So, saying
But how does that impact us?
it hurts us. It still hurts us. It's like a black eye, a punch in the face. I think that you have to really have these things pinned out because black people have suffered the most. I don't believe in Africans and African Americans. I believe in black and brown people, meaning we all are African descent, people of color.
So, what would you say about that divide?
It's very divided. I think we should work on ourselves, our individual selves, because black people have been, they've been handed down after generation, and we don't have generation wealth. So
Everybody got their own baggage, huh?
Yeah, because of trauma. Hurt people. We all know that. But when you're talking about how could we change our communities of color? Well, we need resources. That means that if we keep fighting, they're gonna keep looking over us and saying, "You guys are not ready." We get mad at the Hispanics. All the Hispanics are working together. We talk about them. Look at all the Hispanics on Broad Street. They bought everything. Well, that's a model of education. We should take those notes and learn from that and stop fighting with each other. I watch these people in City Hall. I just watch them just fight with it. We just fight with each other.
Well, you see, Gary. When I look at that from two perspectives. One, this has always been the home of the Hispanic people.
Okay.
Despite the fact that we call them minority, the Hispanic people are the Indians, the Aztecs, the people that own this land, the real owner of this land. And
I understand.
And their plight a little different from us. We always put ourselves in the boat with them, but they're in a different kind of boat, man. Their boat is more grounded than ours. We are newcomers, but we see ourselves like being in the same boat together because they lump us together as minorities.
I understand. I truly understand because of our numbers here.
Yeah.
And what happens is that even if we did have low numbers, that has nothing to do with unity. It has to do with education. It goes back to education.
Well, I'm just saying this because it has to do with economics.
You're right, but you need education to understand economics, and that's the problem. Because in order for me to understand financial literacy, I got to know what I'm talking about. I got to know how to be a leader. I know about my financial burden in my community. Okay,
well, right now, Gary.
But if you suppress that from me and don't give me my natural resources, of course I'm gonna do that. Of course I'm gonna yell out. Of course I'm gonna be angry. So the Hispanics found a way. The Hispanics found a way to come together collectively as a group, and they made changes, and that's how it's supposed to be. I'm not mad at them.
But you see, Gary, we're talking the same thing in different perspectives. I agree with you to some extent, but with resources, with finances, when you're talking about finances and money, if it's not equally distributed, you can be united all the way you want. If they come to Peter and say, Peter, you take $10,000, then they look at Rodney and say, Rodney, you take $50. And the institution that controls that is not from our institute, from not our community, it's from outside communities. So we
think about this. We're saying the same exact thing together right now. Think about the times, how much power we can really possess in our communities. It don't matter how many is it of us. It also holds a burden on people that don't know how to unify. When you see blacks fighting with blacks in the public, that's the gap for them to say they're playing an economic game with us, right? Because Rodney gets 10,000, Gary gets 5,000, and that's the division.
Yes.
That's the game. We talk about the division game.
Yes.
And that's what happens here. Blacks, again, it goes back to black people united and being on a unified one accordion, not a two accordion. That's what's happening.
Well, how do we deal with these?
All the leaders
How do we deal with these personal issues of our leaders? We're going to the leaders now.
But
Because
first, you got to unify one collective group because it's a small group of people of color here. You have Africans, and then you have the African Americans, and you have the Dominicans, and you have the Puerto Ricans, and you have the other Hispanic races. Now they're coming. We gave everybody enough time to get this stuff together. And look what happened. We still didn't get our own stuff together. And that's what happens, Rodney. They're going to keep playing this political game. All of these politicians know that how we divide the black community. We give one 10 million, we give one 1 million. And these black people, we're doing this to each other instead of coming together.
yeah, but Gary, that's why I'm saying now. How do we do away with all these organizations fighting for the same thing?
When you come together, you make one accord. You have to cut the head off of these people that's going out here being a one-man bandit. You got to cut them off and say, yo, brother, we need you to come together. This is why our kids and our future of the kids is not going to be coming together.
So how we start that process?
I think one is where we find the biggest black group in Rhode Island, right? We find them, we go to them, and we explain to them, hey, listen, whether it's the African people or the African Americans or the Cape Verdeans, these are all, and look, and all these people are remotely working amongst themselves. They don't want to work with other groups. Well, you have to make them do that.
So what I'm saying now, we have the NAACP. We're supposed to be the largest group of black people in Rhode Island.
We're not organized. That's why black people are not organized. They might think they're organized, but you go to Georgia, you go to Atlanta, you go to California, you go to Baltimore, you go to these other states, and you'll see all organizing. You see organizations together. You go to Texas, they're together. You go to Virginia, it's that's why you vote. You go to vote to one person. If that happens a majority vote, you go with that person. But you got 5,000 here and 30,000. You take the 5 and say, listen, by the end of this day, the end of this month, the end of this week, we're going to take our 5,000. We're going to go with you because you got the majority vote to win that seat. The blacks here don't do that. They're scattered all over the place.
So what is the Black Lives Matter movement doing to help alleviate that kind of problem?
Well, first of all, we just talked about the inclusiveness. A lot of these organizations, because of education, don't want to work with Black Lives Matter. They feel like their group is better instead of getting a huge, bigger picture and saying, listen, I know we're people of color. I think we're black people. I think we're brown people. I think we need to come together. But it takes one change to happen for black people. And that means unity. So hopefully in the future that we all come together as one, because that's the only way we're going to win this battle of division. It's a huge disparity about division in Rhode Island. The Africans are working over there. African Americans are working here. The Cape Verdeans.
So you see what I'm saying, Gary? What in my years of advocacy and activism, I've come to realize that we may not be able to unite in the terms you're looking at as one group, but we may be able to network as one group, because there are too many groups in our African American, your other groups, then the African got our different groups. I mean, there are just too many groups fighting for the same things, Gary.
Right. We need to stop it because that's the division. Rodney, that's the division. And now they smothered it so much they muzzled out the black people.
Yes. Yes. Because we're fighting among ourselves. But we really need to be some serious discussion and conversation among us, because how do we alleviate all these groups and come together with smaller groups that will have bigger means of helping the community? They're having all these small groups printed out.
your show is identifying the problem. I mean, this is great. I think that, again, we all play a role. We all play a role. You know, that the unification in Rhode Island is really muscled by Black people. Black people are not. They got their own subgroups. They want to do their own thing, and that's what they don't understand. They don't realize they're hurting the next generation of people of color. They're hurting them. Why do you think the Hispanics are growing in a large representation? Because they want what America has, white America has. The Hispanics know that.
Another thing we got to talk about too, Gary, because I keep stressing economics, and you're not really understanding what I'm saying. When we go to the bank to get money, it's 3 times harder for Black people. When Hispanic people go to the bank, they trust them more and give them more money than they give us.
Again,
is it because they're united?
It's more because they're united, Robbie, because this is what I'm explaining to you, is that Black people need to show that to play. Unfortunately, I didn't say, but now I'm going to say it. Unfortunately, this is how the game is played, Robbie. Because for the unification, we are out here by ourselves in the wilderness in North America. Of course they know that, what's going on. They know we're divided. We're mentally, spiritually divided, for one. For two, I think if we come together as one, they don't care if it's 10 of us against 20,000 of them. I think once they see the unification, oh, okay, that's a start. You go to the bank, how come you gave him $1 million and you gave me $100? You gave them $1 million and you gave me $100. They know that we just talking jibber jabbers because there's only 10 of us. They know that.
But not only that, they know they can bribe our leaders. And the very leaders who depending on leading us will be the very one deceiving us and tell, oh, you don't worry about it. It's coming. Our time coming. You gotta sit down. Our time. Gary, you know, no matter what we put together, if we don't have that sincerity and love to do what we want to achieve, we can't achieve it, man. I think
we can, Ronnie. I think we can. I just think it takes preparation. It takes real unity. It takes real love. It takes a brotherhood. Listen, you ex-military, you know that more than I do. I think that what happens is that in America, that Black people lost their way. I don't care if you're African American. The Black and brown people here lost their way because of what's been going on here.
We agree with that. I said we agree with that, but you got to know too that being in the army and having that cohesiveness and brotherhood is through repetitive, reinforcing training. So if we're not reinforcing what we believe in, you know,
absolutely, I agree.
What are our core beliefs? We got to have a core belief for all of us to say we believe in this.
I agree, Rodney. I agree 100%. But it goes back to what? It goes back to education, Rodney. It goes back to having a godly spiritual life.
Gary, I'm also troubled with that. When I went to join a Black organization in Rhode Island here, all these brothers had degrees, man. All of them were highly educated, and they told me I couldn't join because I was African. And Africans don't like African Americans.
I don't know about that because I think, listen,
do you know how I felt? Do you know how I felt, Gary? For educated Black people to tell me that kind of ignorant thing. You know how I felt? And they were comfortable saying that kind of thing too. I said, if you people got master's degrees and PhDs saying this kind of thing here, what we expect from the people from the streets to say? Gary, all these ideals, you know, it's just confusing me right now in the state of total confusion because we talk a lot of BS and we see a lot of different things happening, even among our people. Maybe you got the belief in the vision and everything, but I see the reality to the thing, man. I see educated Black people selling out each other, selling out our dreams, selling out everything, and telling me, I don't care about all of that. I don't. You people go do your meeting and your NACB, you go do that. I'm worrying about me and my family.
mean,
You know how many people got that mentality?
No, you're right. No, Rodney, you're right. Listen, but let me explain this to you. And it's because it's a higher power. What happens is that in a higher power, we feel that life is not good for us here in America, right? You know, we want the dreams, we want the significant things that happen in America, but we're not paying for it, right? We doing 80% lip service over the phone. The actuality is that black people sell out black people like the slaves when in Africa. It wasn't the Europeans. Well, the Europeans had a concept, but the African kings was also involved with the slave trade.
That's true.
You understand? You understand? So now what happens is that the same model happens in America.
The Jesus.
You understand? So now you have black people in America selling each other out because they don't believe in, you know what I'm saying? They believe in their white God. They believe in their white money. They believe in the whole white system. So that's why you have these things that happen that are so barrel to listen to and then now you have the Hispanic saying, I'm gonna replace the white people for the black people. That's what's gonna happen. So they're gonna feel superior.
Well, I think most of them saying we want our land back. This is our place.
No, I think they don't know that yet. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of them don't know that this is their land. But I think that we played a huge role because our blood was here in this soil.
Yeah.
So I want to say that. And then most of the brothers, it's a whole thing of education too with the natives and the Americans. So the African natives don't like the African Americans. The African Americans don't like the natives. I don't know what it is because I'm not going to say that. But here's what I do know. That when you don't have unity, these things are going to happen in the communities. They're going to believe a white man before they're going to believe a black man. That's either side, the Africans or the African Americans. They are not going to believe each other at all. They're not going to take each other's words. They're not going to believe them, but they're going to see that white man as their God.
Yeah, that's true. Look at my country, Liberia. We can't do nothing for ourselves. Everything we're waiting for to come from America or the World Bank. I mean, we're so dependent, man. We're so dependent. It's scary because
of course, because it's inherited, right?
And we end up killing each other for little nothing. Yeah,
it's a lot of trauma that the natives were afraid. They were scared. Listen, the Africans in Africa, when they were coming over, they told them to stay away from the African Americans. They had a tape of African Americans saying that they were bad people.
Yeah.
Stay away from them. Africa was introducing a negative spotlight about African American people. So, when we look at ourselves, we already demise each other with the first thing we do. Stay away from those Americans or African Americans. They're bad. They shoot. They're in the gangs. They kill you. They rape you. They don't stay where they sell drugs. They do it. But America's made that problem for us, our reality. For every national group to hate black people.
Yeah, that's true. Every national group, every group in the world hates black people.
You better believe it.
That's true.
When the Italians were selling drugs, when they came in the 50s and they said, we don't want drugs in the community, white people, the African Americans told them, okay, now the African Americans start selling drugs. You know what the Italians and all the other groups, some people were saying? We don't give a hell about anything else. We just don't want to sell to the African American people. That's what happened. So, from drugs to guns, survival tactics of America, we has been the token, the punch in the face, the black eyes, the cough, the natural disasters. Everything happens. When America catches a cold, black people in America catches the Ebola. You understand? Because of that situation.
We go deep down. We go to death. Go to death too.
Right. Because that's a thing. And we have been the laughing stock against each other.
Yeah.
Excuse me. the African people come to America not understanding that the American people has been beaten, burned alive, set on fire because of the color of their skin. And the natives didn't understand, oh, these Americans, they've been here for so long, they don't got nothing, they don't want nothing. Of course they do. The American people, African American people want things. They want to glorify their beautiful skin. They want to glorify America, but they can't. How could you relax under a condition that is not really possible? They don't want to give to you.
Yeah.
Because they see the fight, they see the tyranny and the irony of the defeat of white America and what they keep doing to us. They play us with this game as a token game. So they bring a couple of token blacks up to the front.
And the token blacks think they're so blessed. They don't want anybody else to touch that blessing.
Here's a situation. And I'm not bragging or nothing. I watch people practically blow unity into the city of Rhode Island, especially Providence. It came out with Black Lives Matter. The locals upset. All the educators, all the people with the elite, black elites, they were so angry. They used my concept, Black Lives Matter, and benefited off it at the city of Providence. They made money off of what I did years ago and did not include me in it. How dare those guys?
You're a foreigner.
You understand?
You're a foreigner, my man.
Rick Raymond, all those guys down there. What's the other guy? The tall guy there. What's his name from out of Newport? You know who I'm talking about. What's his name?
The light-skinned guy?
Yes.
What his name?
Wow, what a piece of work this guy is. He never invited me. What a very disrespectful person using the Black Lives Matter
Stokes?
narrative. Yes, Keith Stokes.
Yes.
That guy.
I know Keith well. Keith just blew out. We don't know him no more.
Listen, in the city of Providence, all those guys, Ray Watson put my name on the internet. All these guys put my record on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Like, they play this game. These guys are awful guys. Awful.
I mean, black people, look at the black people in Africa who do to each other. You expect, when I tell black people we behave the same to each other, they don't believe it. But you tell them too. I've been through the same thing in Rhode Island with the black people, my man. Why you think I stay by myself? Everything, those Africans, man, you know what I've been through, man.
No, I understand. But again, it goes back to these people there, like even internally, where your family members, a lot of them lost their way with education. They lost their unification.
Yeah.
Right? They don't even have unity.
I mean, even our family, people taking money.
They're so disconnected from unifying with each other that this is family members.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The son's going to go against the father. The mother's going to go against the daughter. And this is what happens.
All for petty change, man. Petty change.
They don't care about their fathers. They don't care about their mothers. You know what I'm saying? Like, very disrespectful. This is crazy out. Rhode Island it's not a good place for people of color. They lost their way. I don't know if it was something that it has to do with a lot of incest here, but it was a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a lot. It was terrible. So we know the history.
Yeah.
Right? And the mental illness here. So,
look, the children in the school, they don't stay in the schools, they're all out.
Listen, and then of course you're going to go to white people and look at for their savior. That's what happens. You're going to talk bad about the white people, then you're going to go there and you're going to kiss their asses. So, a lot of times is that I watch the Keith Stokes, the Ray Rickmans, and using the Black Lives narrative to get funding, and I'm like, wait a minute, these guys never once said, "Hey, Brother Gary, we would like for you." No one throughout the years I was talking Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter.
Gary, you talking about you?
George Floyd.
I've been writing my magazine for 30 years. I know all the boys. I interview all of them. Not one of them give me money or support me or anything. People don't do. They're not into that.
Rodney, listen to me.
Yeah.
Look at how big, and this is unfortunate. Name me one dark-skinned guy, American guy, who works together, or who's trying to help us. Unfortunately,
No.
these are lighter-skinned men
Yeah.
that feel inferior and empowered, and I'm a common threat to the locals. You know what I'm saying? So I know I'm a dark-skinned man. Not near one of them asked me, and using Black Lives Matter, using the narrative, and getting funded. Never once said, "Hey, Brother Gary, I had to go out there and claw my way with the state people. I had to claw my way there."
Well, Gary, that's a struggle we're in, man.
I'm very angry and I'm very upset.
Don't be angry, man. You can't.
No, I am.
Because what you do about it, Gary, you just die. You
I know, but
just die from a heart attack. Let the people do it. Every dog guy is dead. Just remember that. Every dog guy is dead.
You know what? I fight everything and everybody around me on a regular basis.
Everything is about money, Gary.
know,
Everything is
it's
about
about
money.
money,
And
I know.
everybody fighting for their pocket change. Nobody cares about anybody else. Nobody cares about systems or law or honor. Black people don't care about that shit. We just care about money.
I know.
Honor to us is when the white people recognize us. Then we got honor. But the white people don't recognize us.
It has to do with the locals again. It goes back to unity. They lost their unification here. They're afraid to identify African, their culture. They're
Because
afraid of that.
they've been punished, man. They've been punished.
I run to it.
They've been
I run
punished.
to my African culture. You know that.
Yeah.
My thing is,
And we've been punished too. That's why you've been punished too, Gary.
Yeah.
They punish us too. You don't think they punish us? Our own people don't recognize us. Our own people don't waste time with us. They diss us. Because
they think they know the way.
yeah.
These people have been, listen to me, these people have been doing nothing under the sunlight.
Gary, can you imagine? I got a law degree. I went to the NACPP. The old people tell me that, oh, you don't know how we function. I said, I don't know how you function, what you function on juju or some witchcraft or something that I don't know. What's about organization, a man, a lawyer like me? I don't know. But they did that to keep me out.
Roddy, we're very proud of you, brother. I'm so proud to know you because of you, a very educated, well-scholared man. And we need brothers like you to step up.
Thank you, man.
Understand? Without you, we don't understand the culture and education about what's going around us because you have these bourgeois Negroes that think they know what they're doing.
That's true.
Every time I look at my complexion, I say, wow, is this a weapon or a curse? And I know I'm a beautiful person.
I hear you, brother.
Sometimes it aggravates me because I think God gave me so much power that of course I outshine a lot of people because what I say, what I demand, and what I've been exposed to as a young man. You know what I'm saying? My mother was a Panther, but my mother was an educator too as well. My mother was a revolutionist. My mother went to prison. So of course, you know what I'm saying? I have those ties with America. You understand? So I was brought up in a way almost like if I was a Swahili or a Zulu.
You know
understand? So I know my ties and my education background. And I have a sixth grade education, but I know I don't let nothing stop me, Brother Roddy. I'm positive. I'm on that path, and I love your show. You have a very profound talk show that I love about it. You know, that could really, really, really indoctrinate a lot of people and give them uplifting and positive things about it. So, thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah, my man, it's a process of education, you know. Gary, I was just about to say, what gave me some consolation to the wickedness in the world and all around us is when I think of my Christian background and where Jesus Christ went through his sufferings. He didn't do it for money. He didn't do it for wealth. He didn't do it for power. He did it for the people. And he told us, he said, when you're doing things for the people, Satan is all around you to stop you because the people speak through God and God speaks to the people.
Mm-hmm.
When you support the people, you are blessed. And that's why Jesus died, because his philosophy of life. When you do all those kind of things and you look at our world today, it means nothing, Gary. You just think it goes on as usual. It's been going on since Jesus' time. The big people been stealing. The poor people been turning against each other, reporting each other, lying. The same thing happening.
It's a lot of stuff. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the show was great. I appreciate you.
My man, you invited to come on anytime. Let's talk some serious stuff, man. Anytime you want to come on, just give me that buzz. We used to do this thing before, remember? You bugging myself.
Yes, we loved it too. Thank you for having me. I would love to come again and we sit down and make this happen in reality.
Yeah, we're talking, make it more formal, man. So we really need to address these issues that I've been talking about, and I'm so thankful that you've been frank about it. You're not sugarcoating it. You're not bullshitting. You're saying from your heart how you feel. You're angry. You're mad. You're pissed off at people that try to deceive you and put you down.
A lot of deceiving going on around the city of Providence and Rhode Island.
Well, we need to educate our people. We need to educate the white people as well as our own people.
I mean, this is a classic one-on-one of education that we talk about, but the empowerment of having the power. How could you script people and take their power away from them that already was born and blessed with power? You know what I'm saying? So you really can't, unless you're a weak person, to say, okay, I'm gonna let them walk all over me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So. But thank you for having me on the show, brother.
Well, Gary, before you go, give us your closing message.
The closing message is almost where, let's stay positive, stay humble, and make change in our communities. We can't worry about other races or people. Let's worry about us first. Thank you for having me on the show.
That's a major concern. We got to think about ourselves. We don't stop worrying about other people, what they're doing, worry about ourselves and our needs and demand them.
That's right, brother.
Aluta, continua. Have a good day, Gary, and God bless you. And thank you very much. We'll talk again. You always invited here. Okay?
Thank you so much. I love your show, sir. Thank you. God bless.
You too, Gary. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Gary Dantzler, community organizer of Rhode Island Black Lives Matter organization. This brother has been in a struggle. I remember he, myself, and Joe, we used to work together on our platforms, spreading the message. And I hadn't seen Gary for so long. I saw him. And so then he saw me and said, man, I need an interview. I got to be on that show. So that was Gary. And he's well known throughout the state of Rhode Island. He may not be a state official, but Gary has made his mark in the state. So, as usual, let me bring on an ad or something. Let's see what our people got here. For especially these people who do businesses on the weekend only. Let's see what my people are.
Caribbean cuisine. So we have a beautiful outdoor that we have a selection of different type of food that you can enjoy. We have jerk chicken, jerk ribs, especially it's the weekend. We got some different specials gonna go on, and we are basic Haitian cooking, but also you can find a little bit of everything that we carry here. And we are at 405 Harris Avenue, Providence, Rhode Island. Thank you, come on by and try us out. Looking forward to see you guys.
fitness. I do all my training here at Fit First with my cousin Jovan. I specialize in 50 and over clients with functional movement. And I do other clients too, younger groups. I do kids also, but I specialize in functional movement and working with older clients and seniors and getting them to move constantly. You got to keep moving. If we're not moving, we're losing, team. You know what I mean? So your form fitness, we started to correct people's form. When you start out with good form, you usually get good results. So,
well, ladies and gentlemen,
from Fit First RI, located 1655 Elmwood Ave, Princeton, Rhode Island. We take care of all your personal training needs. We have 7 trainers here, including 2 boxing trainers. So whatever your goals, we can help you out. Come through, hit us up 401-588-9517. We are Fit First RI on Instagram and all social media platforms. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's my show for another day. I hope you enjoyed my discussion with my guests, Mr. Gary Dantzler, Community Coordinator of Rhode Island Black Lives Matter Organization. And we look forward to more discussions with that brother and others like him in our community who have very, very serious concerns of the disunity, the division, and the negative things that go on within our community that need to be addressed for us to have a better sense of our history, of ourselves, and why we need to come together for a better community. That's my class for today, people. Attorney Commander J.R. Glapohkpa Chesson. Class is done, and I am out of here. Have a good day.